It has been a little while since we have caught up on the rumors around the upcoming Pixel 9a, and today is a great day to do exactly that because Android Headlines is out there with the scoop. They have what they are saying. It's basically the full spec list. So I have taken that full spec list and I have put it together into a single table, and I will be kind of going over this with you. I will put a link into the description for the Android Headlines article. I do encourage you to go click on that link, go read their article, and see what they have to say as well. But guys, these are apparently the specs of the Pixel 9a. I do want to quickly refresh your memory though, because we've actually seen this device as well. This was a set of images that went around a couple of months ago, apparently of the Pixel 9a, and there are a couple of really big noticeable things. First off, the flat edge on the side rail, very similar to the current Pixel 9 series of devices. But what is that? Where did the camera bar go? Where did the visor go? It's gone. This thing is almost flat to the device, which is very unusual for a modern phone. And then even more recently than that, we had this prototype image leak as well, which really does, I think, confirm that this is what the Pixel 9a is going to look like. You can get sort of a look here at the size of the bezels on this prototype device. That should be pretty much in line with what it does look like. But all that being said, let's get into these specs. So obviously, the processor is going to be the Tensor G4. That makes a lot of sense. That's what we have in the Pixel 9 series of devices, and that is their current processor. One thing that I think is a bit interesting is 8 gigabytes of LPDDR5X RAM. So 8 gigabytes in itself is not all that surprising. That's what they've been doing. But in this new age of AI stuff, this does, I think, sort of make it clear where the Pixel 9a is not going to be keeping up with the other devices. A lot of these AI tasks, these large language models, do require, when they're being ran on device, a lot of RAM, and this does not have as much. Here is the Pixel 9, the base model, and it does have 12 gigs of RAM, and there is a reason for that. It is that AI stuff. So if you're looking for on-device AI tasks, this device may lag behind. You do have 128 gigs of UFS 3.1 storage. They're going to be promising, apparently, again, this is all reported, 7 years of OS updates, which is great to see. It's about 185 grams, nothing too shocking there. The price staying the same at $499. This is pretty cool, though. So a 6.285-inch Actua display, 1080p, 20x9, but look at that, 2700 nits of peak brightness. The Pixel 8a was 2000 nits of brightness peak, so this is a brighter display, and I love seeing that on a lower end device. $499, call that mid-range. That's a pretty nice display. Let's talk about that camera setup though, because this is something that's a little bit interesting to me. So there's a 48 megapixel sensor. They're saying that it is the ISOCELL GN8. Now, a couple of months back when some of these specs started to leak, I had actually speculated, let me go grab that post here, that we weren't actually seeing a new sensor in the Pixel 9a, but it was just a crop of the old sensor. As you can see, it right here back in October. The Pixel 9 Pro Fold uses the Sony IMX787. It's a 64 megapixel sensor, but it's cropped down to 48 megapixels. That's the same sensor as what's in the Pixel 8a and the Pixel 7a. And if you look at the specifications on that sensor and you compare it to what was being reported, 48 megapixels, it's a half-inch sensor, it's 0.8 micrometer pixels, I thought this is probably just the 787, and they're just sort of cropping down on it. But if this report is correct, it is this GN8 sensor, which is a new sensor. So again, if that's correct, we are getting a different sensor in the Pixel 9a versus the Pixel 9 Pro Fold and the other A-series devices. IMX712 for the ultra wide and for the selfie camera. 5100 milliamp hour battery is pretty doggone big. Only 23 watt wired charging, 7.5 watt wireless charging. A little bit disappointing there. With that size of that battery, though, let's look at this. 8.9 millimeters thick. Let's go back to the Pixel 8a, and it was 8.9 millimeters thick as well. So they're not giving us any additional thickness, yet the battery is bigger, and yet the cameras are not sticking out from the device as far. So there's something interesting going on internally in this device to make all of that work. Keep in mind there will be a couple of other small corners cut, so for the screen, rather than something like Gorilla Glass Victus, you're going to be getting Corning Gorilla Glass 3, which is not necessarily terrible, it's just not top of the line. And for that Tensor G4, I would expect, just like with the other Tensor devices in the A series phones, you're probably going to get a processor that is packaged differently that causes the performance to be a little bit worse. Granted, you're probably going to have to run benchmarks and things like that in order to see that difference. It is a very small difference, but it helps them bring the price down a little bit. We've also seen reports that while it is using that Tensor G4, it might be stuck with an older modem that you've seen in other Pixel devices, and a lot of what has helped the Pixel 9 has been that newer modem. It just seems like it performs quite a bit better in terms of actual performance, but also efficiency. So again, there are some corners being cut with this device, but it's their mid-ranger. That is to be expected. Overall, I think that this thing's probably going to be pretty darn solid. I would expect the battery life to be really, really good. The over 5,000 milliamp hour battery, that is very, very impressive. And again, for the mid-range price, you probably have one of the better camera setups on the market. But guys, I want to hear what you think in those comments down below. What do you think of the design of this device? It is very, very different from what we are used to, and it doesn't really visually fit in with the other Pixel devices. What does this mean for the future of Pixel devices in terms of their appearance? Does it mean anything? Is this just them differentiating the mid-tier devices in a visual way from their more premium devices? Tell me what you think in those comments down below. Subscribe for more content like this, and until next time, stay nerdy, my friends.